Welcome to the Recruitment People podcast, the place where employers and candidates unite to uncover the art of successful recruitment. Hi, I'm Kelly Charity, a recruiter and agency owner with over 2 decades of recruitment experience. In this podcast series, I'm going to dive deep into the heart of hiring and job seeking, sharing actionable insights, expert advice, and of course, a little bit of fun along the way. Whether you're looking to sharpen your hiring practices or navigate your career path, we've got you covered. So let's get started and unlock the secrets to recruitment success together. Good morning and welcome to the Recruitment People podcast, episode 23. I'm Kelly Charity and today I'm going to be talking to you about hiring great salespeople and how to do that. So in order to hire great salespeople, you need to take many things into consideration, such as there are many different forms of selling. For example, transactional sales, which is, a quick sell, or you can have consultative selling, which is, a long drawn out sales process because maybe you're selling an expensive product where you need to really consult and understand the customer and maybe their need for a new forklift truck and what does that require. Maybe they need it built specifically for their organization. So that process can take a much longer sales cycle, as we call it, than a transactional method of maybe just signing somebody up to buy your product or sign up for a membership or something for your organization. So looking at whether it's transactional sales or whether it's consultative selling plays a big part. Also need to take into consideration, where do your leads come from? So for example, if your leads are all incoming, then you're not going to need somebody that's a hunter. If your leads are need to be sourced by your salesperson, then you need somebody that is going to go out there and find that business. So you may not be looking for an account manager or somebody that doesn't like to do cold calling, for example, if that's the case. And then that leads you into different types of salespeople. So, we're looking at people who are the hunters and farmers, which is your business development executives that like to go out and build new business, build their own pipelines, get that new business on board, whether that's consultative selling or transactional selling. They are your hunter type person that likes to bring on that new business and get that new growth for your organization. Whereas your account managers, we call them the farmers, like to look after the existing customers. So, you've given them a territory, for example, they're managing those key customers, making sure that they continue to order with the organization because the account manager's giving them the best service possible. And also maybe some business development within those key accounts to continue growth within those key accounts, but perhaps not so much on the business development side and bringing on new business, for example. So again, that's when you're looking at your job descriptions. So what does your job look like? Is your job 50% business development, which is bringing on new customers, and 50% account management, which is farming and looking after existing customers? You may find salespeople that can do both of those things, but if you target the wrong person, then you bring somebody on board into your business that only likes account management, and then you wonder why they're not doing any new business development because that's not their strength. So again, it's about looking at what do you require from your organization or from your people within that particular job that you're recruiting for. So once you've established whether you're looking for account managers or business development executives, those people that are cold calling against those people that are looking after existing accounts, and whether your leads are coming inbound or whether you need somebody to go out and find those leads and build their own sales pipeline, that's when you can really narrow down on your job description and really understand what you need from your new person coming into the organization. And that then becomes the basis of your interview question. So once you know what you need, you can use that job description to get your interview lined up. So, the biggest mistakes when interviewing salespeople is that you tell them too much about the role and then they're going to answer accordingly because they know what you need now because they're salespeople, right? So they're asking, what do you need? And then they sell you themselves and they get the job. But actually they don't fit the job because when you dig deeper, they're an account manager and your job is business development, building your own leads, and then you wonder why they can't get the leads because that's not their forte. So once you've established your job description, you can then write out your questions and make sure that you're in control of asking those questions in the interview to really understand and dig deep in that, from that salesperson's perspective, understanding, okay, so where do you get your leads right now? Allow them to tell you. If they're in automotive sales right now, then their leads are walking through the door. So their customers are coming to them. So if your job requires them to go out and find customers, then how are they going to do that when currently their customers come to them? We've had it time again where perhaps car salespeople want to go into a business development role, but when they realize and think about what it means to go out on the road and go and find your own leads, they can sometimes be put off by that. It's not to say that car salespeople can't obviously transfer into an external role, but it's about understanding how are they going to do that. And can they fit into your organization when you need them to go and find the leads? If they've never done it before, is it better to look at somebody that perhaps has that experience at finding leads, building their pipeline, building the database, following up, and that follow through? So really understanding your job description to make your questions appropriate. So again, where are those sales leads coming from? Asking a question in the interview. Also understanding, asking questions, for example, so what is your current role selling and how do you sell? So understanding how are they getting their product to the market? So are they doing consultative selling? Is it a long sales cycle? Is it a short sales cycle? So rather than telling them what you need to be asking them is, how do you currently sell your product? Where do you get your leads from? How do you convert your clients? What percentage of your job is account management? What percentage of your role is new business development? And, if your role is new business development and they're 50-50 account management, new business development, then you need to be really digging deeper on whether you feel that moving from that 50-50 to 100%, for example, is going to work for that person. Because even though they want the job and they say they want the job, it's actually challenging them on, but how are you going to adapt from doing 50% account management right now to 50% new business development? And that may be the reason they're leaving their current job, because they don't like the account management side of things and they only like hunting. But it's about digging deeper and asking those questions before perhaps they know that your role is 100% business development, because they're going to tailor their answer to match what your requirement is, which is, I need somebody 100% business development. Some other key things to think about when hiring good salespeople is what behaviors do you require? What understanding an applicant's motivation and understanding perhaps how resilient they are. If it's a really hard sell, you obviously need somebody that can follow up, that doesn't give up easily. So understanding what their current and past experience is to draw out of them what behaviors they've displayed previously. Where were they motivated? Where were they demotivated? And asking questions about what would demotivate them at work, and to have an example of that in their previous work experience, to try and dig deeper in terms of understanding that individual and whether that would align to your sales model and what you need out of a salesperson. Recruiting salespeople is probably one of the most challenging areas of recruitment. So I'm feeling you. But, as a recruitment specialist in that sales sector, we do understand the intricacies and we do understand people. There is a gut feeling when there's a hiring of salespeople as well. But, we've done it for a long time, so we sort of know what we're doing in that vein. So I'll give you a case study. So basically, we were recruiting for a sales manager in Sydney, and we had a client who was also recruiting for the same role themselves. So, as a recruiter, we go through the process, understanding candidates and not just looking at the resume and taking the resume at face value. So you see the word sales on there, you think, oh yeah, they can do it. So, we're talking with people, doing telephone screening. So we'd spoken with a particular candidate, and from the word go, he was a superstar. His resume wasn't that strong, but he'd done some sales. He'd been in FMCG and he was out on the road as a BDM. So we spoke with him, and he was a superstar. So we then did the interview with him, fantastic candidate. And so we then put him forward to the client. And the client actually rejected him based on his resume. So we, encourage the client who trusts our opinion that they should see the candidate. And so they did, only because they trust our opinion, because like I said, they had already rejected him on paper themselves, and they did see him and called us and said he was absolutely amazing. He was a great candidate and he was perfect for the job, which we knew. He's now worked for the business for probably about 5 or 6 years. He's the national sales manager. He's done so well. But I suppose the power of speaking with people rather than looking at the resume at face value as well is a very, very important part of recruiting for salespeople. How do you know how someone can sell when you're only looking at a piece of paper? That's a good administrator, right? Because they know how to put together a resume. So let's talk to people. And I know, a lot of employers that they don't have the time to speak with many salespeople. But, when you're recruiting for salespeople, you actually do need to speak with them. Rejecting somebody based on a piece of paper could be, the difference between missing out on the perfect candidate or not. So if you've got the budget to use a recruiter, then I would suggest that you do so, because we will certainly find the needle in the haystack, so to speak. And on that note, from a recruitment perspective, another case study would be that we were involved in the recruitment of sales staff, which is hunters for a national company. And when we first got involved with the organisation, they were using 4 to 5 other recruiters. The turnover was so high. And once they'd used, myself to recruit for them for about 6 months, they realised that, our process worked, and we were giving them national people across sales management, and lots of other different roles. But they started to use us exclusively because our recruitment is around giving them only a few candidates, but they're going to be good candidates. So, we're not going to throw resumes at them and say, you need to see these 10 people. We're here to do the job for them and give them 2 or 3 resumes, which generally they would hire one or 2 people. Sometimes it goes to 2, which is great. So look, just to recap, I know sales recruitment is very, very hard, but it's really understanding, what does your job look like? What do you need for that person to do? Incoming leads, warm leads, cold calling. What does the front end look like? What does the middle section look like? Is it going out to see customers? Is it transactional selling? Do you need somebody to do consultative sales approach, so taking their time? Is the role account management? Is it hunting? Is it farming? And what is the percentage split between those? And the conversion, what sort of conversions do you need, and what happens after the conversion? So if you need somebody to handhold clients through, again, that's a particular salesperson, because your hunters generally, once they've got the deal and it's over the line, then they want to move on to the next sale. So if you want somebody to then handhold and see that project through, that's a particular salesperson as well. So there really are so many intricate and moving parts within sales recruitment that it can be very challenging. So look, we're happy to offer a consultation if you're struggling with your sales recruitment. I'm happy to do a free half-an-hour consult with you. Otherwise, obviously, you can outsource your recruitment to a sales specialist like ourselves and let us take care of all the work for you. 97% of the time we don't have to use our replacement guarantee, and 54% of the time we'll give you 1 candidate and you will hire that candidate that we give you first and foremost. So that's our motto, is to get it right first time, every time. So I hope that helps. Hope that gives you a bit of insight, and thank you so much for joining us at the Recruitment People podcast.